There we go. Great. Hey, everybody. Sorry. It was like saying that it was going live for a couple minutes and then I had to refresh. So, and it worked. So great. Welcome to the live stream. All right. So I know that it's been a couple days since the big announcement on the 40K app came out, and that's meant that there's been time for it to kind of simmer in the old brain pod here and really think about what that means. So if you haven't seen it, basically GW gave us some more details on the app. Now, originally what we had heard about the app was the following. It said, on the same day that 40K pre-orders go live, a new app will be launched alongside providing several cool features to help you, including a full match play army builder. And then it says a bunch of other stuff about it, including building army lists using the updated points, values, and detachments. We'll have more on the 40K app soon. So after that first announcement, I guess it was kind of our bad, kind of my bad. I don't know. I assumed that it would be kind of a monolith of an app, that either it would be something that you had to pay for, up front, like maybe it was a $10 app or something like that, or it was going to be a free app and this was just going to be their general support. I didn't really consider the subscription-based business model for this, and that's what it turns out they're really trying to do here. Which, why wouldn't you? It's more money, right? So, there's several features to this app. One is reading the core rules. You can do that with or without a subscription. Great. Access to your codex, like a digital version of your codex with a code that's printed on it. That's also in the free version and in the subscription version as well. However, if you want to reference all your rules directly from your army roster or create an army roster using the app, you got to pay this fee. And they say it's going to be what, $3 or $3.99 British pounds, which is probably going to be like $5 to $7 US. Depending on if they're going to try to have be more of a conversion rate or just kind of like a nice round number like $5. I don't know. And to be honest, it doesn't really matter if it's $5 or $7. If you're going to pay for it, you're probably going to pay either one of those is going to be about the same. It's not like it's $1. It's not like it's $20 a month, anything like that. So the big question here is it worth it? And I want to know what you guys think. Is that really worth it? Of course, the answer depends on how much you use it. If you're going to use the crap out of this thing, then yeah, it's probably worth it. If you're barely ever going to use it, then probably no, it's not worth it. But I think there's groups of people that fit into those categories, and the question is, which group do you fit into? I think this seems like a subscription for someone just starting out who is constantly looking through the rule book. That makes a lot of sense. Someone who is building army lists all the time probably makes sense too. And especially if you're building army lists like right away, as soon as rules hit, as soon as rules are hitting, being released, it makes sense that you want the subscription version of this app as opposed to something free, or at least presumably free, potentially free, like Battlescribe, which takes time to update and isn't perfect. There are bugs, there are errors, and there probably will be bugs and errors with the 40K app too, right? Like, just look at Shadowsun not being in For the Greater Good. That's basically a print version of a bug, but that can be rectified pretty quickly. So the question of if this is worth it for you, if you're going to be someone who really needs those up-to-date rules immediately, it probably is going to be worth it for you. I think it would be, at least. If you are someone kind of in the middle though, where you don't get a lot of games in, you're not needing those super up-to-date rules, you probably don't need to pay for the subscription. Or if you do, pay 1 month and not the next. Play the month that you're going to 3 different tournaments. Don't pay the subscription fee for the month that you're not going to those tournaments or whatever you're doing. So I think there's certainly places where this is going to be beneficial for everyone who's in this hobby to some degree, but it really seems like it's geared towards those people just starting out and those people on the cutting edge. Those people in the middle, maybe you don't really need it. maybe you can do just fine with your hard copy Codex and Battlescribe, for example. Now there's a big question there. What are they gonna try to shut down Battlescribe? And I really wonder. I wonder if there's going to be something there, if they're going to try to edge them out or what. My guess is, like, I mean, I don't really know what they would do. I'm not a lawyer, so. Okay. All right. So, right, let me catch up on the chat here. Going to get, right, so the rule book, right, this is actually something that I'm super excited about with the app, whether I'm going to pay the subscription fee or not, is that I can take my Codex, there's a code printed in it, I can, cash in that code and have a digital version of the Codex. That's something that, has baffled me, that hasn't been part of the, standard operating procedure for codices in the past, right? That type of program has existed for, over a decade for plenty of other different types of media. Why can't we do it for Codex publications? So I'm happy that's actually something that they're doing here. It does make it hard to resell a Codex if you want to get out of an army, or if you're just done with the game or whatever. People sell Codexes all the time for lots of reasons, whatever it is. Makes it hard to do that, right? Because now there's there's a key in there that you have associated with your account, and you can't trust the other person that they've either taken that off, if that's even an option, or anything. So if you are buying a Codex secondhand, you have to assume that it's just the paper copy and no longer the digital code, which is too bad. All right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So the real value of the app really comes further down the line as 9th edition gets more and more full of new publications. Once there are new publications, new rules, updates to those rules, that's really when the app is really going to shine. Right. The day that you get those big FAQs, chapter approved, those types of things are the place where the app is going to really have its value, is because that day one, presumably you're going to have all your rules updated in the app, and you don't have to go back through the FAQ. I mean, you should still read the FAQ to know what's changed, to be clear, but it's all in one place. It's all wrapped up for you. That's really where the info, really where the value is going to be. Okay. Yeah, right. So it's unfortunate that you can't, like all of these books in here, there's no digital code in them. So there's nothing that GW can say, oh yeah, you bought this book, here's a version of your rules. But when the app launches, it will have the 8th edition, have the existing publications in it. So basically they do that, but they just assume everybody has all the rules to begin with, it seems like. Right. But yeah, those are the. So if you buy no back compatibility for old codices. So if you buy 9th edition Codex when 10th releases, your 9th will disappear. That's true, right? It doesn't preserve your old copy. It will just continually update. So there's a value in that, and there's a cost in that, right? That you buy the hard copy version of the book, you can hold on to that, but the digital version is not going to persist. It will just constantly update to the most recent rules. And so if you're someone that really wants that, really wants those old rules to look back on, you got to hold on to your actual physical book. Yeah, so those are the big things. I mean, I don't, $5 or $7, I don't think is going to make a difference about whether I subscribe. I'm probably going to do a little bit of a dance with it, where I'll do it for the times when I think that I'll have more games, and I'll do it for the times when there's going to be a learning curve where I'm going to have to remind myself of rules. That's when the app's going to be super helpful. But once I got the rules down, and nothing's really changing, I'll probably set it aside, or at least not pay the subscription, right? And then re-engage with that subscription when it's most advantageous for me to do so. I think probably, kind of one of the things about subscription models is you kind of hope that people forget about it. So that's always the challenge as a consumer, right? Is you have to stay on top of those types of models to maximize your benefit at lowest cost. Right. Yeah, me too. I would rather have the digital rules just be the most current rules. That way there's no confusion, there's no bulk. I don't want to have I mean, it would be cool if there was like a separate tab with archives, sure, but as far as, looking at my army list and referencing a particular rule, yeah, I just want it to be the most recent thing. But, so let's say it's $5 a month, right? So that's $60 a year. That's a cost of another codex. So, I mean, I don't know. Actually, one thing that is kind of nice about this, right, is let's assume that all the rules from chapter approved get updated in the app immediately, and there's really no, unless there's really no reason to buy chapter approved then. So that's actually an interesting question. So if they come out with chapter approved and it has new content in it, like new missions or whatever, like the new chapter approved is actually 2 books, right? One is the competitive compendium, and the other is the points changes. I think, for the points book, if you have the app, then you don't really need to buy the app, or you don't really need to buy the book, right? But if you're looking for the compendium, the new content, then maybe you have to get the code out of that to really have that show up in your app. Like as far as like new rules for new missions and stuff like that, that makes sense that would actually have a value for you buying the book then. But if you're just caring about the points are going to automatically update in the app, presumably. So even without you buying the book. So I'm curious. I wonder if that's true or not, right? Like, are they basically saying if you have a subscription, you're updating your rules, don't worry about it, we're going to take care of this for you? Or are they saying, no, you actually have to buy the new chapter approved book in order to have the updated points? That's actually, I don't know if I made that's probably not very clear. But are they going to make you buy chapter approved in order to have the updated points, even though it's not, chapter approved is basically an FAQ, but it's a publication. I'm curious. Maybe I'm getting my wires crossed on that, but I really hope they don't do that, right? I would hope that they would just let you have the point update without having to buy the book. Because, again, you're basically paying for a new book every year with that subscription. So, right. Yeah, like the app would need to have the updated points for the Army Builder if they assumed that you were using the Army Builder for what people actually use the Army Builder for, right? They could say, hey, listen, if you don't buy chapter approved, that's fine. You still have access to the Army Builder. It's still the same Army Builder. It's still being updated. It just doesn't have the points or the rules that you need to pay for in order to have access to them. Just like it would with a new Codex, right? Like when you buy a new Codex, you have to put in the code so that you have access to that Codex, right? But I think that would be overly complicated, wouldn't it? Because that would assume a linkage between your access to rules and your ability to compose armies in the army builder. And so if those two things aren't linked, then it's not an issue, right? The army builder would still have access to points, still have access to all the rules that are implied by the codex. You just wouldn't be able to look up those. You wouldn't be able to look up those rules by tapping on a unit or something like that. Okay, I'm going to assume that that's totally like just a really bad dream. that they're not going to make you buy chapter approved to have updated points, right? It's totally convoluted. I hope that rationale only makes sense in a fleeting second in my brain and for no one else's mind at all. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm excited about the app. I'm glad that they're doing that. I mean, the digitization of the core rules, not the core rules, the codices, and having that integrated into the app just makes sense. Like, again, I'm surprised that they hadn't done that years ago. The subscription model, the way that you have to pay for the subscription to access the army builder, that's unexpected, but I guess it kind of makes sense as a subscription, really, if the rules are constantly being updated. I mean, not constantly, but frequently being updated. It makes sense that you wouldn't pay $10 in 2020 and then have access to new rules in 2025 or whatever. It's a way of them actually continuing to support the work that goes into updating the app and doing those rules and stuff like that. I mean, at least that's the justification that subscription business models have historically used, right? That's like for World of Warcraft, why you would pay a subscription fee was to maintain productivity of new content and maintaining the servers and that sort of stuff, because that all has to happen, over time. It's not a one-time thing; it's a continuing thing. So, yeah, I guess a subscription makes sense in that context. But it's still a little disappointing, right? When I first saw this, I was like, no, they said it was going to be free. They said it was going to be free, and I went back and looked, and it's like, oh, they didn't really say that. I assumed that it would be, or hoped maybe. I probably hoped, and then when thinking back on it, I told myself, oh no, they definitely said that, even though they didn't. I don't know. Right. Right. Yeah. Cool. Wonderful. What else do you guys think? There's, I don't know. Are you guys going to be using it? Are you going to pay this up? Or it sounds like there's a lot of people that are just on the fence about it, that are going to wait and kind of see, which probably is the most reasonable approach, right? Like, we haven't even seen this thing, so why would I say it's absolutely worth it or absolutely not? That makes sense. Yeah, so what do I think the points changes are going to be on the subject of points change? I mean, I've been assuming that's going to be about 1,800 points is going to be the equivalent. So 1,800 points today is going to be 2,000 points when the points change hits. I've heard talk of like 1,750 or 1,850. So 1,800 seems pretty comfortable to me. I really think the bigger question is the specific units. What specific units are going to change and by how much? I really do think, I really hope that like some of the Forge World stuff doesn't go up at all, or if it does, it's by like 10 points, something like that, because a lot of those points, right, are based on one of the things that they said they were trying to do with the points change is kind of reset back to the first day of 8th edition, where everything had new points. It totally was, it was a total shakeup. Everybody had to rediscover their armies with these new points values, and they had smaller games because of that as well. And so they want to go back to that. And who has the exact, pretty much the exact same points that they did day one of 8th edition? The Forge World stuff. Now, there's not a ton of changes in the Forge World unit entries. So hopefully those things wouldn't change drastically with the increase in points across the board, because they're already at inflated costs compared to other things. So hopefully those things stay the same. I think things like Riptides are going to go up. I can't, Riptides, it just makes a lot of sense that they would make those go up. Drones, I think probably will go up too, maybe 12, 15 points a pop, something like that. I hope Kroot stay, maybe Kroot go up by 1 point, but really I'd like them to stay where they are. Fire Warriors probably up a point or two. I like the biggest thing that I'm wondering about isn't really any of those things. It's crisis suits, and we talk about crisis suits all the time. I want crisis suits to work. I think you guys want crisis suits to work. People want crisis suits to work, and they can if the price is right. And so a lot of whether crisis suits totally eat it in 9th or still have a place is going to come down to cost. So if they give them a really minor point adjustment, I think they can still, they can still come and sit at the table. If they blow them out of the water, with a 15, 20 point increase, again, it really, again, it depends on the context, right? If they get a 20-point increase and everything else gets a, the equivalent of a 50-point increase, scaled, whatever, then they really get a point decrease relative to other things. But assuming everything else is moving kind of in a similar direction, if they really are heavy-handed with the points on crisis suits, I think that's a really great. I don't know what's the word. Bad thing. it's a bad thing. Okay. Yeah, Riptides with points increase could still be solid. It totally depends on what the price increase is. Battlescribe is 50% off until tomorrow. I wonder why. I wonder why. That's what I would do, I guess, if I was running Battlescribe. Yeah. Yeah. The question, right? Is Battlescribe going to be around anymore? Obviously, it's a different company, but you kind of wonder when Games Workshop enters this room, are they going to shoot everyone else out? And I don't know if they would do that, strictly by competition or by trying to get some sort of regulatory action via like a court to enforce that. I don't know. You would think though, if they were just trying to, be the very best, like no one ever was, and outcompete Battlescribe, that they would not go for such a relative. You would think they would go for like $1 a month for the app fee. That would make sense to me. But $5, $7, $10 a month for an app, I don't think that's a very competitive price for an army builder. Yeah. Right. It is, they do kind of, although the tournament organizers are the big tournament organizers, like the Nova people, the ITC people, are part of the team of the playtest team of the rules team. In some ways, 9th edition, the way they've kind of unified the rule set by incorporating these different tournament organizers and everyone kind of agreeing like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to make our own missions anymore. We're using the core rules. We're using the core missions. And in some ways, that's like a weird acquisition and merger type thing, and also a competitive thing, right? They're outcompeting these kinds of competitors for rules creation by acquiring those smaller companies. Yeah. So it would make sense that they would try to do something like that with Battlescribe, but do subscribers get access to all the Codex books? That's, I guess, I don't know. Does someone? I don't think so. I think they get they're continually saying all your rules, not all the rules. So my interpretation is you still got to buy the book. You don't have access to all the rules. You have access to your rules, the rules that you paid for, hard copy. Which again, you would think if you have the subscription, maybe you should get access to all the rules. But I guess it kind of seems to me like that's not the case. You can access all the rules from 8th edition, right? So if you day one when the app hits and you're a subscriber, you can build an army list. Well, actually, no, you can't, because the army builder is not going to launch with the app. It's a coming soon feature. But whenever that coming soon feature is released, that army builder is released, you can go in, you can build an army list for an army that only has an 8th edition codex. You can do that. You can reference the rules. Everything will work perfectly for you until the 9th edition codex for that army releases. Once that happens, then you will need to have purchased that, entered a code from that book in order to do that same process. If you don't have a physical copy of the book, if you don't have the code, then you will no longer be able to access the rules for that army in the army builder, is how I understand it. Yep. Yeah, you have to pay for the subscription and the code if you want to be able to go back and forth between your army list and the rules seamlessly. I still think it's worth it if you are starting out, if you're trying to learn the rules. I think that's a fantastic thing. That's one of the things that is always a challenge for me when a new edition hits or a new publication hits is, you're always, going through the books. You're always flipping pages and trying to figure out what's going on. It's much easier if it's all integrated into a single spot. And so I really do see a great value there if you're playing a lot of games and trying to learn the rules early on. Or if you are, playing a lot of games and need those, super up-to-date rules clarifications at your fingertips, that's also a good place for you to be. It's those middle people that I think are going to struggle to see the value. Yeah. No, I'm generally positive about the app. It's not exactly what I would want, but but I'm not gonna say hey Games Workshop, I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna use the app at all. I'm gonna say I'm gonna use it selectively. I'm gonna use it when it's most advantageous for me because I do see the value there. I'm not gonna complain about them digitizing codices because I've been asking for that for decades. So I'm happy about that. Really, I'm very happy about that. I'm happy that there's going to be an official Games Workshop army builder, and depending on the actual functionality of that, how that actually works, and how that integrates with the rules, I could see that very easily being something that I'm going to pay for, because I just really, the convenience that offers in my mind seems really great. But I'm probably not going to pay for it all year long. I'm probably not going to pay for it all the time. I'm going to selectively opt in and opt out when I need it. What else do you guys think? Hey, Did you guys get your Indominus pre-order in? I hope so, because if not, you're probably not in a great place. I got to show you something. It's kind of like what happened with this, right? With Loon Curse. I mean, it's not totally like it's actually a lot worse. That a lot more people want Indominus than want Loon Curse, or wanted Loon Curse. But yeah, wrong game. But you know, like you couldn't find this thing. If you wanted to buy it, it was on eBay for like a 50 to 100% markup or something like that. And so I searched far and wide. I found one. I was very happy. And it's like, oh, I'm definitely gonna build this right away. Guys, it's still in the plastic. This is mint condition. I bought this and it went on the shelf right away. Man, this is mint right here. So yes, this is also a Riptide. Man, guys, it's like maybe I have a problem. But yes, this is an unbuilt Riptide that this is a staging area. This is where things go because it's sitting there saying, hey, remember, I exist. The Loon Curse box, on the other hand, is in the closet. So it doesn't have that same attention. Okay, why did I buy Loon Curse or a Riptide? Probably Loon Curse is the question because it's Riptide. So Loon Curse. So my first army that I ever played was Wood Elves in Fantasy. I didn't start playing 40K until several years after I had started Fantasy, and I always kind of thought Night Goblins were really cool. And so I have a few Sylvaneth basically from the end of Fantasy before Age of Sigmar actually launched. And so when this box came out, I thought it was actually a really good opportunity to add a little bit to my Sylvaneth collection, and then also, really kind of itch that scratch that I've had for however long of having some goblins. So I did that, and obviously, I use it all the time. I have to build the Riptide. I have to build 2 boxes of the Sisters Army plus Celestine. Those all have to get built. I did do a bunch of bases for the Sisters Army, so I have them all. Like, this is the Green Stuff World rollers. I did that for all the bases, but that's as far as I've gotten on the Sisters Army. Yeah, so yeah. I don't know. I mean, probably will. The question is now, do you want to take fortifications as tile? I have no idea. Probably not. Maybe. It would depend on points. So we learned in the fortification preview that when you take a fortification network, the points are refunded as long as, the command points are refunded so long as it's the same faction as your warlord. So for Tau, it shouldn't be a problem. So basically, you could take a Tidewall network and not pay any CP for it, which is fine. I mean, okay, great, but it's still a Tidewall. And like I'm assuming it's going to be light and heavy cover. And so it's basically, works like a mobile barricade. I don't see it. I mean, that seems useful if the points are right. If it costs, if the cost relative to other things is maintained in 9th edition as it was in 8th, I don't think it would be worth it, because there's going to be other types of terrain that I'm going to be able to use and not have to necessarily worry about it. But yeah, I think that having mobile terrain could be useful, but it isn't an auto include. It depends on the rules, I guess. On the specific rules. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to. Oh, I did. The point I was bringing about Indomitus. I mispronounce. I keep Indomit. It's a tuss, right? It's not Nuss. It's Tuss. Indomitus, right? That thing I did pre-order it from my local game store, so I'm excited about that. Along the same lines, that same local game store is going to be supporting my 10,000 subscribers giveaway, which I'm going to do a video on this week to announce. But that giveaway is coming very soon. It's going to it'll be the largest giveaway that I've done for the channel. I'm pretty excited about hitting 10,000, and I want to make sure that I show you guys that appreciation. So thank you. And I can guarantee you it's not going to be the Loon Curse box, right? Maybe I should just like start getting rid of stuff I have laying around. We can get rid of the Riptide. I don't know. That wasn't what I was going to do, but yeah. If you guys haven't checked out Auspex Tactics, you should. He does really good stuff. It's audio only, but it's great audio quality for one thing, and it also is very succinct and easy to understand. I think he does a really nice job. And his channel is not very old at all, but it's just skyrocketed because he does such a good job, and he's really like I think he basically said that this is his full-time job now, in contrast to a lot of people like me, and so he's able to get stuff out right away, which is good. So another question that I have for you guys is we'll talk about that some other time. I brought it up in the Discord, by the way. If you guys haven't participated in the Discord, I strongly recommend it. Maybe not strongly. I recommend it though. I've been interacting a lot more on the Discord. I've been trying to make that a bit more of a community there, and asking people for feedback and trying to make the channel and everything else that we do associated with the channel better for you guys. So hop into the Discord. There's a link in the description for you to do that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I'm eager to see what the point changes are. I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen anything. I haven't seen any leaks from that, right? Like we see a lot of potato camp stuff of specific factions in general, but we haven't seen that for chapter approved yet. So I wonder what the deal is with that. Is the Discord for members only? No, there is. So if you are a supporter over on Patreon, you get access to the Patron Lounge on Discord as a locked server for people that can only access if they're on Patreon. But all the other channels are totally open, so you don't have to be a supporter on Patreon to access the general chat or list discussion or the hobby hub or Tau Tactics talk. I tried to go for alliteration, guys. No Discord link. Okay, we'll fix that. Yeah, it should be in the link for the older videos, if it's not in the description for this one. All right. Well, I'm probably going to head out then. I was planning on doing some painting here, and did this instead. So um, but yeah, hopefully, one day I'll get that painting in. I have a bunch of crisis suits sitting on the table there, aching for some highlighting. That's all they want. They just want a little bit of highlighting, and then they can go home. But go home to the foam tray. But yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for watching, and as always, I'll silence my phone. Thanks everybody for watching, and of course, happy wargaming.